Hi, welcome to another episode of Mom Does It All. If you're looking for encouragement, empowerment, and uplifting in motherhood and mompreneurship, this is a show for you. I'm your host, Martaspirk, triplet mom, woman empowerment coach, and all things motivation extraordinaire. In this episode, I talk about how we should be looking inward more to create the best version of ourselves instead of looking outward and criticizing people for their fake perfection. I'll also share some pretty exciting news, so stay tuned and enjoy. Let's get right to it. I originally wanted to record this episode to talk about the experiences that I have been having, the opportunities that I have been having to share my voice and my message in person, which is amazing because I set out this year, 2019, to be my year of in-person events. After being confined to the online space for so long because the kids were at home and they were little, obviously, but now with them going to school, I've been having more opportunities. And what's interesting is that it's not that, they have just fallen on my lap. I have really looking for things and working hard to be able to get these opportunities. And I will talk about this in a little bit. But another thing that came to mind that really goes with this is that not everyone understands or appreciates what I do. There is a stigma with self-help because in essence, what I have been doing is self-help, right? Is you understanding your feelings and doing some deep soul searching so that you become a better person and a better parent, a better mom. And I have heard throughout these 3 years, and especially lately too, a little bit of a backlash, criticism, because everyone's different and people have different perceptions of things, which is fine. And that's another thing that this whole process of coaching has been teaching me is to not take things personally and understand that everyone has their own rights to interpret things the way that they want because they come from different backgrounds, right? And this has allowed me to have better relationships as I understand that it's not all about me. It's about people and how they react to certain situations, right? And how my reaction to things is my choice at all times. And a lot of people think that, talking about your feelings and talking about you reconnecting with who you are and understanding yourself is a little bit of a waste of time, or it's for people that are weak-minded, that need this help. And what I have been understanding and realizing is that we all need each other. We all need help. So maybe you don't think, or maybe you know somebody that doesn't think that they need this inner work and this personal development because they already know themselves, they already know their place in the world and how they, handle situations. But I'm sure that that person has a rock, has somebody that they can count on that probably has a personality more like mine, to listen, to, give advice or to help ask the right questions to help them see things from a different perspective. And I just wanted to touch on this because I know a lot of people look at me as the triplet mom that does it all, that has the podcast, that does the live events, that does the fun things, that takes their kids out on adventures and all of the things. And they might think that my life is perfect, or they might resent me from showing this because it's like I'm pretending that my life is perfect. And that is not at all my intention. My intention is to live my life to its fullest because I truly believe that life as we know it right now is not going to be forever, regardless of our beliefs. And I say this all of the time. And we really have to enjoy life, right? We shouldn't just be going through the motions because that doesn't serve anybody. If you're hating your reality daily, that's what you're showing to your kids. And that's ultimately the cycle that they're going to continue on once you're gone or once they're adults. And becoming a parent has really put this into perspective for me because once you become a parent, you start noticing that the older people in your family start getting older and start passing away, and you are next in that chronology, right? And so what are you doing with your life? That's the essence of everything that I have been doing. I want to make sure that, in my deathbed, I am looking back, not with regrets. And that may be hard to do. I don't know. I haven't had that experience, but I have had close people to me pass away. And I know that that's what they look back at. Of course, at the good things, but there's always some regret, right? Some long period of time that you spent focusing on something that you wish and now you know you shouldn't have. And My goal is to pay such close attention to what I'm doing so that I am not living in regret or looking back with regret when my time is near, And so it's not about perfection at all. I don't believe in that. And I am far from perfect. There are things that I struggle with daily and that I'm working on. And even this very process that I have been going through and that I have been teaching women and encouraging women to go through is the whole point of finding the things that are keeping you from enjoying life, from keeping you not from being perfect, but from being your best self so that you can address them and get rid of them. So let me give you a couple examples. I struggle majorly with organization. Like having triplets was like what helped me realize that I have to be on point with my organization to find things, to survive, to keep them on a schedule. I think when I got married and I moved in with my husband and I didn't have all the support that I had with my mom's house, with my parents' house, with, having a maid, having people that did things for me, it put things into perspective that I had to take care of my own life and also my husband's stuff while he was at work. And of course, he's super, super helpful. It's not like I do everything myself, but that was the first challenge for me to realize, all right, you need to have some organization in your life, Marta, because it's not going to be done for you anymore. But having triplets was like, whoa, wake up call. I have to really be organized with myself. And it's still a struggle. It's still something hard because then we have a lot of stuff. And it's even harder to get organized when you have a lot of stuff. But that's what makes it even more imperative. And the next thing is punctuality. Period. That's something I struggle with. I have been really, really hard, working really hard to not frame myself as late, and always disorganized, because it's kind of like what I've realized that I am, and I just kept calling myself that and kind of justifying that that behavior. And now I understand that this gets in my way to having a more fulfilling life, because in essence, I'm creating stress for myself. When you're disorganized, you create stress for yourself. When you're always late, you're creating stress for yourself. And this whole process has been teaching me to find the things that I do myself that I can change, because you can't change people. But if you look at your own behavior and realize the things that are not serving you, you can change them if you really want to. And this is what I have been trying to do and trying to impart to other people. It's not about being the perfect mom at all, because I'm not. It's about being the best version of yourself. It's you and you. It's not you and other people, because when you think perfection, you think comparing to other people, I'm better. No, that's not what it's about. It's about you being better for you and for your family, but it starts with you, right? And so this is my intention. And in order for that to happen, you have to get to know yourself. This is the whole process that I have been going through. I have to understand myself at such a deep level that I start seeing my own faults and not get offended that other people are pointing it out, but really being honest with myself and saying, do I really want to continue on being like this? Or can I start making little steps, taking little steps, making little changes to become a better version? And you are the one who's going to decide what a better version of yourself is, not people. But you have to look at yourself first. And with all of that said, and all the things that I have done lately, pivoting my business into, mostly offering coaching for moms, and then going into offering coaching for women in general, and focusing on the women part of moms, that we're not just moms, we're also women. That's why we have to take care of ourselves as people so that we can become a better mom, or I should say, show up as a more present mom, so that I don't use the word better, so that you're thinking I'm talking about perfection, because that doesn't exist. And now working with Brazilian women in this tough transition of, moving to a different country and everything, I have really been finding who exactly I can help and who I want to help, right? Who needs my help and who wants to receive my help, and how I can impart this knowledge that I have acquired by working on myself to other people. And one thing that I have been doing is, like I said, looking for in-person events, because I like to talk. I'm a very personable person. I like meeting new people. I'm very curious and interested in people. And I started working with this media expert, Christina Nicholson. She was here on the show. And she actually has a team, and I've been working with one of the people in her team, one of the coaches in her team, and they're all amazing. They have been helping me so much. they were the ones that, gave me the ideas of pitching to blogs and to start blogging, which really rescued my talent for writing that I had. Obviously I have a bachelor's in English, I have a master's in English, and it's like I was using my voice with a podcast, but I wasn't really taking advantage of writing. It's almost like I was taking a break because I did so much of that. I was like, all right, let's take a break for a little bit. And now I'm actually enjoying this because it's really cathartic, just like talking here on the podcast. Writing has been helping me frame my content in a different way and really get the content out of me because I have to write about something, right? And so they were the ones that helped me get to contribute with Twiniversity, get to contribute with the Denver Parent, and write for different blogs and get featured in different blogs. And also reconnecting back to the University of Colorado, Denver, where I got my master's degree and have the opportunity to speak at this networking event last week, which it was phenomenal. Lisa, who was one of the experts in Christina's team, has been helping me prepare for all of this. So I love this so much, and I want to talk more about this program when the time comes. But not only do they help me in framing a pitch, a compelling pitch, to be accepted. Once I'm accepted, they help me with, okay, what are the next steps? How do I write this? Or reviewing what I write, or even if I'm supposed to speak, planning my talk and rehearsing with them. It's just been amazing. And let me tell you about this experience at CU Denver. So what happened was one of Christina's guests inside the course, the online course that she has, was talking about how they started their speaking career as a paid speaker, and she started out by reaching out to local universities and just looking at the syllabus and saying, I can contribute to this class, writing directly to the professor. And to me, it was like, oh my gosh, this is obvious. I used to be a student, and the university is right here, close to my house. I can reconnect back with them and see if there's an opportunity for me. And it didn't happen right away. I emailed them and they said, this was like June. And they said, we're, looking into next year's content and events, and we'll reach back out to you if there is an opportunity for you to share your story and your expertise. And then now, months later in September, I get asked to go speak. And it was a room of like 70, 80 people. It wasn't that big, but it was, bigger than I have ever done in this context of a coach. And it was amazing. I had such great feedback, not only from the adults, not the adults, I don't want to call the students not adults, but I mean the alumni, but also the students coming back to me and saying, what a great presentation. Even after I left the building and I was just walking on campus back to my car, this student walked up to me and said, great presentation, and kept on walking. And I was just blown away at how, that people valued what I had to say and that I had this opportunity and that this is just the beginning. And what I talked about was the importance of networking, which really is the importance of networking and tips on how to get out of your own head and go for it and talk to people and create opportunities for yourself. And I even said that in the presentation, even though my focus was here in this room, you connecting with the alumni and you making new connections, or you putting yourself out there to get jobs or to get new opportunities for yourself. This really goes for any situation in our lives, because networking is all about relationships. So this works for dating. This works for making friends. This works for getting opportunities for jobs in your career. It just literally works for everything, even for, handling your kids as a parent. And I want to write an article about this as well. But what talked about, the three main points that I made, was that you have nothing to lose. And this is something that we need to take with us at all times. We have nothing to lose, because life as we know it is not going to be here forever. So don't be afraid of what people are going to think of you. Don't be afraid of rejection, because you will only know if your point is valid if it comes out of your mouth. So don't be afraid and speak up. And I don't know what situation you're going through right now, but you can apply this to this situation. I am very sure. Just don't be afraid of your opinion. Don't be afraid of what you're thinking, because it's in there for a reason. So you have to voice it. The other point was, be more interested than interesting. And this is something that I learned back when I first started coaching with Beachbody, that, when you reach out to people and you want to offer your help, offer your services, you have to be willing to be interested in their story and what they have to say, because ultimately people want to be heard. So in this whole process of speak up your mind, say what you're thinking, and not be afraid, you also have to think about the other person because they're going to be doing the same, right? So you have to be interested in what they have to say. You have to learn how to listen. And this goes for any relationship. That's, usually the point of conflict with most relationships is that the other party is not willing to listen to what they have to say. They usually, want to provide a solution right away or just dismiss you or just not pay attention. So if you want that out of people, you have to start doing that yourself in any context. And last but not least, I talked about thinking long term, because this is exactly what happened in this situation for me, how it wasn't the next day that they invited me to speak. And with anything in life, usually if it doesn't work out right away, we get disappointed, we get frustrated, we take it personally, we think that we're not good enough. And in reality, things take time, and it's all about planting that seed. Maybe you start talking to somebody and you think that that's going to turn into a job opportunity, a lead opportunity for a client. My gosh, how many times did that happen to me, especially when I was working in network marketing? And then later on, a few months later, maybe that person will come back to me. Maybe they will refer me to somebody else. Maybe someone will eventually remember my name because of something that I did. They will look me up on Facebook. They will find me. Recently, this has actually happened to me. Somebody came up to me, reached out to me because one of the guests in the podcast has been talking about me still. I didn't even know. I haven't even seen anything online. And they said, they speak so highly of you. I want to learn more about what you do. They literally sent me an email saying that. And I was like, all right, let's schedule a call. Let's talk. So you just don't know. So stop wanting things right now. I know with today's technology, and don't even get me started. My dad has told me so many times growing up that I have to be patient. It is something that it's hard for me. So I can add this to my list back in the beginning of the episode. That waiting is hard for me, and I believe today's society with technology doesn't make it any easier, but still, you have to understand that a planted seed today is not going to yield fruit tomorrow. It's going to take time. So you just have to put yourself out there and not be afraid. And on that note, I want to tell you, and this is the special news for the episode, and I'll be sharing more about this on social media as well, is that not only did this whole process of working with Christina Nicholson to get me on more media exposure and to get me to connect with people in person more, yield this amazing opportunity to speak at CU Denver, I actually got invited for a quick segment, a quick interview on TV. So I'm going to be live Wednesday morning on the show on Channel 2 here in Denver, which is a Fox channel, on the show called Daybreak, and I'm going to be talking about bullying. I'm going to be talking about my experience with bullying and how to handle that, and tips for parents to not only learn how to handle bullying, but also model that to your kids. Because, I believe that there is a huge emphasis on bullying in school, especially back to school right now. And there's lots of stories going out there. Maybe you've seen about that kid that made a homemade t-shirt for University of Tennessee, and he got bullied. And eventually they took on his design into the university, and now they're selling those t-shirts. And so this is very much talked about when you think about students, when you think about, younger generations. But the truth is, bullying comes from the older generations, right? Where do they learn this? Where do they learn this behavior? It comes from adults. Just like everything else that I've been talking about, we impart these things to our kids. They copy, they watch, right? And so if we learn how to handle that, then we can teach that to our kids. So we can be happier adults that don't take things personally, just like I'd said, and we can teach that to our kids. And we can, start taking steps into a better, kinder society in that sense. So I will be talking about that, and I'm going to be on TV for the first time sharing my work as with the coaching that I do. And I am so excited about it. You best believe I'm going to be talking more about it, but I wanted to share this firsthand for you listening to this episode. And I am so excited for everything that is to come. But just know that it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen without you putting in the work. But ultimately, it doesn't happen if you don't believe in yourself. And how do you believe in yourself? You take time to get to know yourself. So it is important work. It is important work, and that's what makes us grow as people. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope this encouraged you to look inside yourself more and realize that all the answers are in there. Don't forget to connect with me and send in your feedback on the show and share on social media and tag me. Until next time, bye.